Good to go.
Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Today's the day. My first ever podcast on Daniel J on radio. I am your host, Daniel J. Beatty. So I'm sure you're wondering, you weren't expecting me to be here. I've never done something like this before, but I have a few reasons why I'm here. I'm an education major, but over the past few months, I've gotten really into media. So I thought that this would be a great opportunity for me to pursue that in some way. And as well, like as you can see right now, like because this is only my first time, but I want to be better at public speaking and also speaking to people privately, which yes, I am hoping to have some guests. Let me know if you would like to be one. We can make arrangements. But yeah, this is my very first time doing something like this. So don't expect profession. Keep that in mind. Oh, okay. So anyway, what this show is mainly going to be about, I'm going to mostly talk about TV shows and movies, even some gaming related things every now and then, things that have recently come out, and also some classics to look back on. It really depends on how my week goes, what I'm into, and that stuff. But this should be really fun, and I'm looking forward to doing this. And as I said, I hope that this will improve my public speaking and as well, just like privately speaking too. You know what I mean. So yeah, anyway, what I've been hoping to start with is a show that recently has come to an end that is very, very popular right now. It has been for a long time. Sure, you guys are familiar with Stranger Things. So it's actually really good timing today because the new trailer of the spinoff they're making is coming out in April. It's called Tales from 85. And I'll talk about that in a sec. But first, I want to talk about the ending because I know that was a little bit controversial. Like, people weren't exactly so happy with it. And yes, by the way, there's going to be a lot of spoilers for this. So if you haven't watched it, I suggest that you watch it first before you continue listening to this. Yeah, what I thought of the ending, I thought it was good that most of the characters survived. I felt very bad for Eleven, and of course, like Hopper and Mike, they didn't deserve to have to go through that, but I'm glad that they ended up being all right. It was pretty sad, but at the same time, I'm glad the characters all had an ending that was satisfying. I'm sure I like what Mike's ending was with like him being like a storyteller. And yeah, I think I'm trying to think of like what I really liked about the ending besides pretty much not really anyone dying because that's kind of what we were expecting, especially with Steve. A lot of people thought he was gonna die. I didn't think that because that would have been way too predictable. I don't know, but yeah, I felt really bad for Henry honestly because even though like yeah he became like Vecna and like all evil, like I feel like that was all under the influence of the Mind Flayer. Like looking back at that flashback. By the way, I did see that what's it called? The First Shadow, that Broadway show. I saw that, which is it pretty much tells that story as well. It makes you have a little bit more of an understanding of who Vecna is even more. And yeah, I don't think it was right the way Henry had to die, but it was also a little satisfying the way that Joyce was the one who finished Vecna. But yeah, Henry deserved better. Like I assume that it was all under the Mind Flayer's influence. Like I don't know for sure if that was. I hope that wasn't the human version of him talking at the end. But yeah, that was pretty brutal. But it was cool though that like how all of that went down. And yeah, I also want to talk about some of my favorite characters as well from the show. I really wasn't expecting myself to be getting into this new spin-off thing like with such a little time, especially because we had some technical difficulties before, but it's okay now. So yeah, some of my favorite characters in the show, I gotta say, Murray, he's my number one favorite. I just gotta say that. Like, even though he doesn't really appear until, actually no, I shouldn't say he doesn't appear until season 2. We don't even meet like Robin until season 3, but we don't see him a lot. That's what I'm saying. But I love that guy so much. He's just so funny, and his sarcasm, just all that kind of stuff. And every season he's in, he's, like, always doing something crazy. It's not anything casual. Like, I know everyone in the show is doing something completely crazy, but him, he goes next level. Like, that guy fears nothing, but yeah, Murray is definitely one of my favorites, and personality-wise, I feel like I can relate to him in some way. But yeah, he's one of them. I was gonna mention him last, but I don't know, it just kinda it came to me. Jonathan, I really like. I don't know if a lot of people are really a fan of him, but for me, he's such a good brother to Will. He's always so kind to him. Like, a lot of brothers I see in, shows like this, they're always, like, picking on their brother, but Jonathan's never been like that. He's always been so helpful and kind. Like, he deserves to be recognized for that. And then there's Steve as well. Can't go wrong with Steve. He's such a great guy, and like, I remember in season 1, like, he was such a jerk, and then he really turned his way around, became, like, the most likable character in the whole show. Yeah, I love that guy, Steve. And Robin, of course, too. I feel like personality-wise, I can relate to her as well. Yeah, Robin's a great character, and I was I don't know, she's just, she actually kind of inspired me to do this as well, like, the beginning of season 5, the whole podcasting thing. Like, I don't know, she's just very inspirational. Yeah, and then, of course, I wanna give an honorable mention to Mike again. 'Cause I remember, because my RA made our floor theme Stranger Things, and I was surprised because all of our names have a character on them. Mine was chosen as Mike, and I was like, "Oh, that's surprising," and then I'm like, "Oh, wait, I can kinda see that. I can see how," because I like the idea of storytelling too, and throughout the show, I kinda felt like I could relate to him out of all of them. I feel like it makes sense. Yeah, I really like Mike, and I also wanna give a little bit of a mention to Argyle from season 4. I don't know why he couldn't be in season 5, at least, like, not even as a cameo. Yeah, that guy was funny too, and I liked him a lot. I wish the actor was back in season 5. He was great. But anyway, like I said, I don't wanna run out of time. I do wanna talk about what I thought of the new spin-off trailer. So, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you've seen it yet. If you haven't, you may as well. It's coming out in April, which is a little bit later than I was thinking, but this is really exciting. I can't believe we're getting an animated spin-off of Stranger Things, and pretty much in, like, one of the best times of, like, the show too, like, back when it's, like, between season 2 and 3, which is, like, when I was really into it. I mean, of course, I was still into it after, but, like, back then, when I was first getting to know the show, I loved, that whole thing. Yeah, my younger self would've loved this, but I'm so happy this is, like, a thing now. So, apparently, it takes place during, like, the winter. I guess it's like a snowstorm after the whole, the snowball dance, whatever that was called. And, yeah, this upside down monster thing is back, and who knows what it is. It looks like a Demogorgon kinda thing, but it's like, I don't know, it's some kind of vine monster, right? I don't know how to describe it, but it's interesting, but at the same time, you, like, see the characters are having fun with each other, going on these crazy adventures, like, they really they fit their own characters from the actual show, and as well, like, I saw Hopper in the trailer, he was being, like, that strict, protective dad, and then I think the best part, I was laughing so hard when I saw this part at the end of the trailer. Steve is talking to some girl, you would think that was Nancy, and then her turns out her name is Natalie or something, but he called her Nancy by mistake, and she was like, "Who is Nancy?" Like, I don't know, that is there's something so funny about that. I think this is gonna be such a great show, and I think that part is it just really brings out Steve's character. Unfortunately, I don't know if that means we're gonna get to see Robin or anyone else yet, but it's okay though. I feel like maybe she'll make a cameo. I hope that means we'll get to see Murray in some scene. That would be pretty funny too. But yeah, I'm excited for what this show is gonna bring. I'm very much looking forward to it. So while I have a little bit of time, I'm trying to think of what else I could do. What else happened in Stranger Things? I'm trying to think. Like, keep in mind, like I said, this is only my first time, so I didn't think I would get through all of this so quick. I think my favorite, I'm trying to think of, like, my favorite season of the show. I know season 5, especially the beginning, was one of my favorite parts. But then there was also like, season 3 was very memorable too, like, at the beginning and, like, just the whole, like, summer thing. I love the idea of Hopper wearing, like, a Hawaiian shirt, like, going on that whole thing against those Russian guys. It kind of like changed up the plot a bit, and I like that they introduced the whole Russian like thing like that. And then what else did I really enjoy about the show? I really enjoyed. I really like the acting in the show. Of course, is phenomenal. Like especially with Will and Hopper, they do such a great job with that. At the end of the show with Henry, like they do such a great job with like it's so convincing. It seems so real the emotion they show, and like I love the scenes where Hopper just yelling at people, like, especially when he's telling Joyce to drive when that guy is like about to kill them. Like, of course, you probably know that scene. I'm trying to think of other scenes with Hopper. Like whenever he's interrogating somebody, like the aggression, I can just feel it when I watch that. Yeah, Hopper is such a great guy. I'm glad he'd survived. That was, and it was satisfying too. Well, I wouldn't say satisfying, but like I kind of always want to see Hopper interacting with Vecna. So in the last episode, I feel like I kind of needed to see that. Yeah, that was crazy. Vecna, he's so powerful when you think about it. He's able to like mess with your mind. He made Hopper think that he killed 11 or something. Which yeah, it's a relief he did, but still he basically messed up their whole plan by doing that. Like he's pretty smart, Vecna. Um yeah, I also figured that like it was crazy to realize the upside down like isn't just the upside down. It's like the middle. It's like a wormhole, they say, between like our world and then the abyss, they call it, or Dimension X. It's like a link between the two worlds, which I thought was crazy. I remember watching the season 5 teaser and I was like, what is this wall for? Like, what does this mean? You know? I was like, oh, that makes sense. It was, yeah, that whole second part of that season was so weird to me, but it was so cool that we finally get to, like, we were able to, like, really understand what any of this means. And then as well, whatever that, like, thing Vecna was inside in, I was already able to just figure out that was the Mind Flayer creature itself. Like, as soon as the thing emerged, I was like, I knew it. I knew it. It was, yeah, that thing was crazy. It was surprisingly nobody died, but of course, like going after one Demogorgon or something, and like all those soldiers get killed. That's what I find so crazy about this. The amount of plot armor in this show, man. Yeah, pretty insane. I know people were like, there was like a clip from like season 5, part 1, like the 4th episode, where those Demogorgons are all going after those soldiers or whatever. It's so funny. It was so funny when I look back at it. One Demogorgon grabs the guy and then he like tosses it to the other guy like it's basketball and he like dunks him. That was just, it just felt so unserious and I loved it. And that's what I love about these shows. They try and make it so serious, but then like something so laughable ends up happening and then everybody's talking about it. Yeah. That's exactly what I love about shows like this, and it's not often that you're gonna get them. There's some other shows that I can definitely compare to that. I don't know if I'll have time for them, but I am hoping to bring them up in future episodes. And as well, I do want to mention too, like since I'm by myself in this first episode, like I'm sure that's what one of the things that's making it difficult, along with the fact that this is my first time ever doing something like this. But yeah, I am hoping to have guest speakers. So like I said again, let me know if you go to Iona and you want to be a guest speaker. You're always more than welcome to come here. It's and plus like it does help with like getting better at talking with people. And oh, that's the other thing. I feel I would have felt bad if I forgot to mention this. There was a part in the show of Robin, you probably remember this, where she had this whole speech about how she used to be so afraid of being herself or something. She was trying to live for somebody else. But then when she finally starts living for herself, like it's such a freeing feeling. Like she's being herself pretty much. And she said she felt like she could fly. She just gotta, I forgot which, she just gotta stop being so scared is what she's saying. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. It was a pretty I was nervous about doing something like this in the first place. I had to really get out of my comfort zone to not just do podcasting, but to approach someone, to join new clubs, things like that. It's not easy here, especially for someone like me. Like, and I'm hoping like that continuing to do things like this, putting in that effort and like getting out of my dorm more, doing things like this, knocking on people's doors, asking people to hang out, initiating. It's not easy, but I feel like it goes a long way over time. And that's something I got to keep doing. So yeah, I think Robin was really inspirational when she said that you shouldn't be so afraid of being yourself. Just be who you are, and you're gonna feel so free. And that's when people really start to see you. That it's not like if you aren't really like being yourself, you know, like especially this is what's so good about being in a podcast. Like you really get to speak your heart out, and that's what I want to do in future content creation. Hopefully, in a more professional and formal way. Because yeah, first time doing this, but that's kind of what I'm saying. You know, you gotta put yourself out there. Just don't be so afraid of yourself. And yeah, that's really been helping me over the past few months. And I'm really glad that she told Will that it helps me in a way as well. So I'm trying to think. Um, yeah, this is the problem. Like I said, being I probably I said this like 5 times now, so I apologize. What can I do for the time being? Because I also don't want to like start something too early, and because I know I got a show right after mine. I was told like before I even like weeks ago, I was told like got a show right after this. So like I don't want to hold the guy back at all because I'm sure the next person's got a lot more to say. But yeah, I am very excited. I'm glad that the Duffer Brothers are going to continue writing this show, Stranger Things, and even if it's a way that doesn't even seem to really, I feel like in some way it does align. It just feels like it because there were no flashbacks or anything to it because this is like new, but I still feel like it's great that they're continuing the story in some way, and they are. I think that you're going to make another spinoff that's new characters, but it's still the same. Like I don't, it might take place in our time rather than the '80s. I don't even know, but yeah, they said in season five's finale there was going to be like a hint about that. So yeah, I feel like we should expect something like that soon. I guess we'll just have to wait, but there are going to be plenty of other shows that come as well. Yeah, Stranger Things is such a memorable show, and like in 5 years from now, I feel like people are still going to be rewatching it. Like it's something you can't, you know, like something you can't get sick of. So yeah, I'm really happy that it took a lot of convincing for me to get into that show. It wasn't until I was in I think a year after it was season 2 when I like started watching the show when that was all out. It was a good time for me to start watching. It would have been hard for me to really be into it without there being more than one season, if you know what I mean. But yeah, season 1 and 2 already like if that was already so good, that's how I knew like this show was gonna get even better. It's the same with a lot of shows as well. So hmm, I'm trying to think of what else can I say about the show? Because I've pretty much said like everything at this point. I'm trying to who's like a character that like I haven't thought so much about or I'm trying to think of like from as oh I know that every season there's like a character that like people really like at the beginning and then they end up dying around the end and it's so unfortunate. You had Bob from season 2. He was one of my favorites. I wish like that's like a guy like I wish I knew in real life. That guy is so cool and he's just really like despite everything being so serious, like he's always like that kind of guy that's just there and it makes things better. He was so good intention. He deserved better. And he kind of sacrificed his life pretty much. I wish he like kept running. He didn't like stop and let that Demogorgon go after him. Like yeah, he should have just kept running. This is like that's kind of an issue with some of the characters. They celebrate things too early. and that's when things go bad. But yeah, Bob was such a great character, and it was great to see him, like he was the only one who was able to get them out. He was the only one who knew how to do it. Yeah, that was very brave of him. I felt the fear. He was sweating so much during that scene where he was running. Poor guy. And Alexei in season 3, I feel like I kinda have a resemblance to him. I have, like, the glasses and the curly hair. I kinda have, like, a resemblance of that guy. And he likes cherry drinks. I kinda like cherry drinks. But yeah, he really, he kinda carried the season a little bit. I thought it was funny, especially because he was so associated with Murray. He was a good guy. I liked him, and I wish that he stayed longer. And in season 4, you can't forget about Eddie. Eddie was such a great guy in, the show, and I wish, like, I've always wanted to have, like, a character like Eddie in my life or Steve too, and I kinda wanted to be like one of those guys too, like, whenever I'm with my younger cousins, I kinda feel like I'm like that kind of figure, like, I 'cause they always say that Steve is like the babysitter, he's kinda like keeping an eye on the kids, and that's kinda how I am with my younger cousins. I kinda keep an eye on them, keep them out of trouble. At the same time, we just do crazy stuff together. We just have a good time. I don't like, I'm not, like, really strict or anything. I'm kinda the I'm kinda like having to chase after them, is that kinda thing like Steve has to do. But, yeah, Steve and Eddie both such great mentors in the show to Dustin, and I could understand why that was so painful for Dustin in season 5 after losing Eddie. That was I'm sure that wasn't especially when him and Steve were having that whole fight in the Upside Down. Like, that was so sad to watch, and I didn't like the idea that Steve was, like, saying, like, Eddie wasn't a hero. Because yeah, I don't know what Eddie was thinking, like, doing that. Well, his life was already pretty much cooked, like, he was everyone was accusing him of murder, even though clearly it didn't seem like well, from Jason's perspective in the show, the guy was, like, floating, and Eddie was, like, looking at him, so I can kinda see where he's coming from, but come on. Like, are you really just gonna accuse Eddie? I mean, yeah, the name Hellfire, it's, kinda convinces you, but they're just a bunch of guys that like to play D&D, like, you're just coming up with reasons to, Did you say 5 minutes? Okay. Okay, so yeah, 5 minutes left. I had a lot more time than I realized, wow. So, yeah, they were really great characters, I felt, and Eddie playing Metallica in the Upside Down, unforgettable. I loved seeing that happen. Um, the next 5 minutes, what else can I say? Because I pretty much covered Stranger Things. I know I've been, like, rambling about it for so long now, and I've been like, "Oh, what next?" Like, that kinda thing, which I kept telling myself, "I don't wanna end up doing that." I don't I've been losing track of time. This is yeah, my first time, so I apologize. If anyone's still been listening, like, I thank you for putting up with this, and especially if I happen to have a guest speaker, I'm sure that this will go better, and I'm hoping that even without one, like, this is the whole goal this is the whole point, to get more comfortable with speaking to people and not freezing up so much. Oh, I heard, like, a weird buzzing. Anyway, yes, but it's gonna be, for, like, the future shows, I honestly don't know, like, I don't even know what to expect because it depends on, like, what I get into over the week or whatever my guest is, like, into. I know some people who are into certain shows that I happen to love myself, and not just, like, new shows, I'm talking about, like, shows from a while back. I wanted to talk about one of my other favorite shows, Cobra Kai. I was gonna do that, but I wasn't because 30 minutes, it felt like a very short amount of time, but now that I realize for the future, like, I guess it's really not. I guess I do have a lot of time for that, and it's very similar to Stranger Things, especially considering it just ended, and I have a lot of I have some mixed feelings about the ending, but I overall liked it too. But yeah, stuff like that in the future. I know, like, shows that don't even have to be all the way from the 80s. They can just be, like, from a few years ago that haven't been talked about in a while because that's really the purpose. Um, yeah, shows like that, and also, yeah, like, movies as well. I got some good movies coming in the future and good movies I've seen over like the past few years, past few months, I would say. And even some gaming related things, like I wouldn't consider myself a very professional competitive gamer, but I enjoy playing like Nintendo games with my sweet mates and stuff like that. Just I play casually, so I won't it won't always be about gaming, but every now and then I'll like talk about stuff like that. But yeah, given that, I thank you for putting up with, you know, this is only my first time. Thank you for keeping this in mind and know that that this isn't how every conversation with me will go. And the whole point is that I can overcome this challenge. And yeah, I want to thank you so much for watching this and expect better content in the future. That's what I'm going to say. Expect better content. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Daniel J. Beatty, and this has been the very first episode of Daniel on Radio.